Why do you think some ideas become very popular and others don't? Think about the company you work in. Do you have any great ideas about a process that can be improved or facilitated, such as, for instance, a way to cut costs? Can you make a short list of a few of these ideas? Also, do you pitch ideas to management, colleagues, or business associates? Welcome to the Word of Mouth English Studio channel, where we discuss all things grammar, articulation, and accuracy to help you with your written and spoken performance. And we also want to boost your input skills confidence. So, in today's video tutorial, we'll discuss different ways to help you pitch ideas more successfully at levels B1 and B2 upper intermediate level standard. This video tutorial is useful for those working in sales, marketing, management, and for business English students and Beck, Vantage, and higher candidates who wish to improve their use of collocations, their strategies, and techniques. Let's get started. Let's start by having a look at some expressions and phrases that are typically used in the boardroom or in meetings. Can you take 2 or 3 minutes now to match the right phrases to the right categories? There are 5 categories altogether, but 6 phrases. Which of these phrases is used for suggesting ideas? Which of them express doubt? Which of them show you believe in your idea? Which of them ask for more information about the topic? And which of them are used when taking decisions? In this section, we'll be looking at the use of adjectives in order to help us describe ideas. Imagine wanting to provide feedback in a meeting or via email, if you are very familiar with the people you work with or your colleagues. Which of these adjectives would you use to indicate that someone's proposal was not adequate, was not a good idea? In other words, how would you express that you disagreed with someone's idea? Now, on the other hand, think of what adjectives from this list you would use to express that you thought the idea was a good idea or that the proposal was a good one to go along with. For instance, is the adjective crazy positive or is it negative? So think of how you'd use it in statements of your own. In business English, it would be always used negatively. Is risky positive or negative? Again, in business English, risky is a negative adjective or suggests negative connotation. What about creative? Creative is always a positive adjective. Now, beware of false friends, because in some languages the term sensible actually refers to people who are a bit too emotional or oversensitive. So the word sensitive and sensible do not mean the same thing at all in English, and they're rather contrasting adjectives to use if you want to describe people in terms of characteristic or personality or behavior. A sensible person, on the other hand, is a person who's intelligent, wise, or perhaps even clever. A sensible idea is an idea that makes sense in English. A sensible idea is coherent. A sensible idea is worth investing in, but it has nothing to do with sensitivity, which means the ability to feel. So the term sensitive refers to being emotive, whereas the term sensible refers to being logical. The adjective radical is actually negative. Okay, it's more than it should be. It's an idea that hasn't been heard of. So for us, a radical idea or opinion is not positive. And of course, as you probably correctly guessed, the term stupid is negative, very negative. Whether we're discussing people, habits, or interactions, or ideas, or opinions. Stupid always falls on the negative side of the scale. There's nothing positive about it. And I'm sure most of you might have got this right. In this video tutorial, I'll be sourcing some of my material from Lingua House. Now let's have a look at these adjectives in context to see how they are used, or rather what kind of ideas these adjectives are typically used to describe. For instance, in the first example here, let's design and sell special gloves for eating ice cream. Here, you'd have to agree that this might be acknowledged or thought of as a stupid idea. It's not very sensible, therefore it's negative. And remember, this adjective is always informal. It's not even semi-formal, therefore it's used mostly in speaking, but not when writing. So be careful how you use this word in context. Let's build a search engine to compete with Google might be a little bit of a crazy idea. Perhaps you thought this was a little bit abnormal, not normal, or perhaps just simply outrageous, which is another word for crazy. We should delegate certain tasks to the secretary in order to focus on the important issues. Now, you might say, if you worked in the company, that this was a sensible idea, but not sensitive, as we said earlier, since it doesn't relate to emotion, but relates to a logical solution, something that makes sense. Let's completely stop advertising and try to reach new clients through our company blog. Now, you might say, if you wanted to give feedback in this meeting, that this was a radical or perhaps a risky idea. Risky and radical are both negative adjectives and therefore can both be used in this case. Risky, on the other hand, can also be used in example 5. Why don't we borrow $100,000 from the bank and invest in the stock market? Now, I would also say that's a little risky. Okay, now risky is normally negative. Risk factors, on the other hand, is a neutral collocation and noun that can be used in business English. So what are the risk factors? If you're doing something risky, then it means you are doing something in which you take too many risks, and that could be negative for your company's profit or for revenue or in other kinds of situations. Instead of throwing away all this extra fabric, why don't we use it to make handbags for women? Now, if you're anything like me, you'll know that recycling does make sense, or reusing things makes sense. You can use these adjectives in a positive way to relay your idea that you agree with somebody. In this section of the presentation, we'll focus on listening skills. You'll hear two people, Howard and Pablo, who work in the marketing department of a manufacturer of powerful household blenders. And what is a blender? Howard has an interesting idea for a marketing campaign. Now listen to the dialogue and then answer the questions 1 to 4 below. Take some time to read questions 1 to 4 now. You'll have 40 seconds to do this. And now let's listen to the audio.
Thank you for meeting me at such short notice. As you all know, the director is putting pressure on us to improve sales. And to make things worse, we have a very limited marketing budget. In fact, we don't have any money to spend on new marketing activities.
Yes, I know, it's awful.
But despite these pressures and frustrations, I see an opportunity here to get really creative.
What's your idea?
Well, so far we've been publishing standard blog posts about food recipes that involve blending ingredients and stuff like that.
I like those posts.
Yes, they're interesting and practical, but are they really, really cool? I mean, think about it. As a reader, would you want to share our content with at least 10 of your friends?
So, you're talking about creating content that will basically go viral. Now, that is extremely challenging.
Right. Well, my idea is this. Instead of writing about how consumers can use our blenders to blend food, how about showing them how our blenders can be used to blend other stuff?
Do you mean other stuff?
I mean, stuff like pens, clothes, and even iPhones. We could make a series of videos showing how powerful our blenders are and publish them on YouTube.
An iPhone? Will it blend?
Will it blend? That's a great title for the video series. Let's see if it will blend. I'm going to put this iPhone in our most powerful blender right here. Ready?
Go ahead. Good job. I hope that was your old iPhone.
Oh yes, that was the first iPhone I ever owned.
Well, I see you're really thinking outside the box here. That's definitely a radical idea. Do you really think it will work?
I think it's worth a try. Anyway, it's not risky at all. To make those videos, we won't need any extra investment. We can simply make them in our laboratory using a phone camera.
Okay, let's try it. It's a pretty crazy idea, but I like it.
By the way, this dialogue was actually based on an actual viral marketing campaign called Will It Blend, which helped American company BlendTech achieve success. Also, think about how your company has achieved success. Think about the variety of ways in which it's done this. Think of how your ideas have contributed to the success of the company you work for, or perhaps of the company you worked for in your previous position. And now let's have a look at the answers. The answer to question 1 was low sales and limited marketing budget. Did you get this one right? Try to ensure that you've used the right key words and phrases in your answer as well. If you haven't, then you'd probably want to do the listening a second time to make sure all these important key words are factored in and that you didn't leave anything out. For instance, what kind of sales were there? Okay, the adjective low, which is the opposite of high, would be important here because that's key information. Okay, what kind of marketing budget did they have? It was limited, so therefore it wasn't successful, or it wasn't a high amount. So we don't say a high budget, but we say a limited budget, or a big budget, or a large budget, or a sufficient budget. But when it comes to talking about sales and profit, we talk about them with or in terms of the adjectives high and low sales, or high value, low value, etc. For question number 2, the answer was this: writing blog posts about food recipes. Okay, so did you get the spelling right? Okay, check your spelling for accuracy as well as the information and the keywords that you've included. The keywords here is writing a blog post, okay? So the word write is just as important as the word blog posts. And don't just write posts, but also write the word blog post, because after all, post and blog post do not mean the same thing. And food recipes. Both these words would be key words to include in your answer. So how accurate were you? And do you need to listen again? In question number 3, this was, or should have been, your answer. Create viral videos of blending non-food items. Again, the word items here is used differently to the way we use units. Okay, units in terms of production and items in terms of what your customers or client will be buying. Okay, therefore, items are tangible things that you sell. Please do not always use the word products in business sales, okay? Use the word items, and in terms of production, then we prefer to use the word units when it comes to manufacturing costs. And also create viral videos. The verb create here is just as important as the adjective viral. Did you include this adjective or did you leave it out? Okay. And number 4 should have been a simple verb, and your answer should have been accepts. Why? Because the question asked for a verb. Now, we accept an idea or an offer, and we refuse an idea or an offer. If you're a B1 or B2 intermediate user, you'll find these following expressions and phrases very useful when trying to put forward an idea or when trying to provide feedback in a meeting or in an informal or semi-formal email. Let's have a look at the answers and listen and repeat. To suggest an idea, say, "How about updating the logo?" Or, "Why don't we update the logo?" Or, "Here's an idea. Why don't we update the logo?" When expressing doubt about someone else's idea, you could say, "Do you really think it will work?" Or, "I'm not convinced, to be honest." To show you believe in your idea, say, "I think it's worth a try." If you'd like to ask for more information on the topic, say, "What do you mean?" Or, "Tell me more about it." And when taking a decision, you could say, "Let's try it," or "Let's go for it," or "Let's give it a go." Thanks for watching today's video tutorial. If you found the content of this video informative, then please hit the subscribe button on your way out, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Also, check out our other videos. We've got lots of content on how to boost your grammar and improve your performance when it comes to structural accuracy as well as vocabulary building for all our business English professionals as well as our Cambridge candidates. And see you next time.